The hum is small enough to fit in your palm, soft, a ribbon of sound that moves between jasmine and brick. A monk's bell rolls in the distance. The garden keeps its callers. Quiet stones, loud stories. Today, temple hives.
Hello and welcome. I'm Samnang Bradley, where history meets hospitality. Walk the temples with me as we follow the hum from temple gardens to market stalls to meet monks, women beekeepers, and conservationists who steward Cambodia's bees and the seasons they keep.
And I'm Sovan Linda. We'll listen closely to the sounds of the apiary, learn a little Khmer for hive names, and talk about how honey moves through ritual, medicine, and everyday markets, all without sharing any step-by-step beekeeping instructions. That's important. We honor knowledge without turning ceremony into a manual.
Context corner, quick and clear. In Khmer, you'll often hear people call wild cavity hives by local names that vary by region, simple names that point to the tree or the season. Honey appears in offerings at temples, sometimes in small bowls placed before a statue, and families use it in household remedies passed down in whispered recipes. We'll say where that knowledge comes from in the show notes, and we will not disclose exact hive locations, daily harvest schedules, or how to build a hive.
From an ecological perspective, bees here are part of a living rhythm. They pollinate kitchen gardens, jasmine hedges, longan and mango trees. For many households and monasteries, the presence of hives is both a practical blessing and a symbol of care. We'll also point listeners toward accredited apiculture resources in the notes if you want to learn with proper training.
Let's step into the field. Picture a shady grove beside a monastery courtyard. A novice monk, bare feet on cooling stone, tends a small wooden box tucked under a frangipani tree. A woman from the nearby village arrives with a woven basket of honey jars. The air is warm, insects busy. The beekeeper hums a rhythm to the bees. It's part apology, part greeting.
I remember meeting the elder beekeeper who taught children to watch without touching. She would say in Khmer that the bees teach patience. She did not give me measurements or step-by-step methods, only stories about timing harvest to flowering seasons and how families share honey at weddings and temple offerings.
He described how the jasmine bloom is a moment, not a date on a calendar, but a smell in the air that everyone recognizes. He times certain activities by those scents. He also makes clear boundaries. Some honey is for the family, some for offerings, and some sold at market to buy rice and school supplies. That economic thread is vital. Honey supports small incomes without turning stewardship into extraction.
At the market, a woman I sat with wrapped jars in banana leaves and told me how she teaches children to protect the forest edge where wild hives nest. She explained that respectful observation, not disturbance, is how their knowledge survives. She asked us to tell listeners, if you visit, ask through a local liaison and compensate fairly. That simple request carries a lot of weight.
There's also the monastic angle. In some monasteries, hives are part of permaculture gardens. Monks help guard garden edges and learn stewardship alongside lay neighbors. A novice told me that caring for bees became a meditation practice. Watching a hive is a lesson in attention, in noticing small economies of life.
I want to be clear here. We're not romanticizing. Bees face pressures, land use change, pesticide drift, and the slow erosion of traditional foraging grounds. Local conservationists and agroecologists I spoke with emphasize community-led solutions, protecting habitat corridors, supporting diversified farms, and strengthening local market connections so producers receive fair prices.
One memorable moment, an elder beekeeper handing a child a tiny dipper of honey, instructing them to taste with gratitude before it ever touched a bowl for sale. It wasn't just sweetness, it was a lesson about reciprocity.
People care for bees. Bees pollinate plants. Plants feed families. Everyone sits inside that loop.
Now, let's pause and listen. Imagine close mic hums threading through leaves, a bamboo frame creaking, distant temple bells marking the hour, birds answering. Take a breath with me and notice how place feels when you slow down long enough to hear the small things.
Soundscape, a layered moment of apiary hum, garden bird calls, and the temple bell. Let the mix sit for a beat and carry you into the next part of the story.
We're back. To add a little technical nuance, local agroecologists emphasize tending landscape diversity rather than relying on single crops. That diversity supports pollinator health. They also caution against foraging wild honey unsupervised because disturbance can harm both bees and people. Their guidance is a reminder: conservation is as much social as it is ecological.
I asked a conservationist how outsiders can help without causing harm. She asked first for accurate listening, support cooperatives that pay fair prices, fund community training that elders approve, and respect monastery and household boundaries. She also recommended buying honey that has clear provenance and that is marketed by vetted cooperatives, not anonymous roadside jars with no traceability.
She also reminded us that good intentions can have poor outcomes if we don't follow local protocols. Publishing exact hive locations or visiting without introduction has, in other places, led to over-harvesting or unwanted attention to fragile livelihoods. So we are careful here. We omit precise locations, and the show notes will point you to vetted partners who work with communities on fair trade and habitat protection.
Practical takeaway now, short and actionable. Ask permission through local liaisons before visiting a hive. Offer fair compensation when you buy honey. Don't sample or request on-the-spot harvesting. Support certified cooperatives listed in our show notes. And when you photograph or record, get consent and share how the material will be used.
And for travelers, consider attending a community market rather than seeking out a hive tour. Markets are where sellers choose to present their products, and that keeps agency with local people. If you want to help more, consider donating to community-led conservation funds recommended in our notes, not to individuals solicited on the spot.
Before we close, a small reflection. Care is a kind of conservation. In the monasteries and village yards I visited, tending bees is woven into daily life, prayerful, practical, and quietly hopeful. When people say, the garden keeps its collars.
That reminds me, the layers matter. Cultural use of honey is more than ingredient or commodity. It's memory, medicine, and ritual. Supporting that means protecting stories and livelihoods as much as protecting bees.
Thank you for following the hum with us. If this episode moved you, subscribe to Ancient Echoes KH to keep walking Cambodia's living gardens. Find our show notes for vetted cooperatives, contact guidance, transcript, and the sources we used. Quiet stones, loud stories. Until next time, hear Cambodia's heartbeat.
Subscribe, leave a review if you liked this walk through jasmine and hive hum, and share the episode with someone who loves foodways, conservation, or temple stories. Safe journeys, and thank you for listening.